In this video, I would like to show you the concept of actually generating a curve layout, kind of like a network, and then we patch all the faces in, and then we start generating the shape by adjusting our curves. So you see that on this layer, I have kind of like a very basic layout, and this at one point, for example, should be, let's say, a PC table speaker. So I can go to the square tool. The square tool requires me to have 4 sides, and you see I always pick them in sequence. And because I only want the curves to generate those surfaces, I do not actually select the edges of my surface, just the curves, because I'm not blending between the surfaces. The edge rounding I do later with a different tool. So you see this is a pretty straightforward process. And last here. And last here. There. Perfect. Let's take a look. There it is. Okay, let's I would like to select only my surfaces. Assign. Okay. Because I might actually select certain curves like those and reset actually my control points, so they actually they all have them selected there. Perfect. Okay, they're centered. Good. So I can actually now, for example, go ahead and start sculpting my design. So maybe I select those CVs, I move this one down. There, see how, for example, this arced. So here we see, for example, an already a little bit more developed design. The nice thing about this process is you can actually be quite playful and start exploring shapes. Sometimes you have a certain idea about how something should look like, but then maybe your sketch, which you created, feels a certain way. But then once you start pulling that into a 3D program, you can rotate everything, observe it with a different clarity, get different ideas. It's all about understanding what you're trying to do. So you see, this is actually a pretty easy process. Of course, if we are honest, this model looks a little bit over designed. Of course, I did that on purpose. So for example, here, those parts are not very good because I have a sharp corner. All these surfaces meet there. So this is not necessarily kind of like an ideal way. But again, 3D modeling is like sketching. You have explorative sketches, you have refined sketches, you have presentation sketches. So the same you can also do with computer models. Use it appropriately for what you try to do. Do you try to explore? Do you try to refine? Do you try to present? So for example, the advantage of this process, using only my curves as the parts that generate the geometry and not surface edges, I can simply patch in a new line here because I'm not satisfied with how the transition at that center looks like. So I'm moving this one up so this feels more parallel. And then to make life a little bit easier, I'm going to align this curve to this curve forever. So once I start sculpting everything, everything works and flows together. And then in this case, now I can use a bi-rail. So curve, 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 spacebar, curve, curve. And there you see it. Now this looks, for example, more finished. This face, for example, is okay. This is okay. Those are very simple sheets. This one is okay. But those corners I didn't really like because how much those curves started to be deformed. So I hope this actually was an interesting introduction into or demonstration into how you can create a so-called curve layout or network, and then you start patching in the surfaces with the surfacing tools which make most sense and are very efficient to work with. Of course, to finish this model, those edges, then for example, I could go ahead and use the round tool to apply the edge routings where needed, or do other parts. I could copy and paste this model, start on a different layer, deform my curves, make another copy, and then later compare. I mean, the way how you work with layers is all up to you.